Well, good afternoon or good morning, depending on what part of the world you're in. My name is David Gross with Conde Systems, and it's my honor to co-host this webinar with Jimmy Lamb from Sawgrass. Jimmy, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing really good today, David. Well, it's not quite hump day, but we're getting through the week. Things are going well, so I'm doing well as well. I said well a
Well,
lot, didn't I? Anyway.
yeah, one of the things we do is we record the webinars, and for folks that want to watch it again or they're unable to. So if you're watching this from Conde TV, YouTube, we welcome you also. You're in listen-only mode, meaning that we can't hear you. But if you want to ask a question, you'll see it on your little control panel for GoToWebinar. You can ask it. If Jimmy can get to the question during the webinar, great. If not, we'll answer it afterwards. And there may be a question or two that we need to handle offline. So why do we do these webinars, Jimmy?
We do these webinars to help our end users learn and do better and make money.
So I would answer that I wake up in the morning with two things on my mind. Number one is what new products can we bring to market? And then number two is how can we help people make money? And if there ever was a webinar that was close to me, close to my heart, it would be this webinar. Do you know why, Jimmy?
Because you love animals.
Well, it is true. I love animals, but it's because my dad was a veterinarian.
Oh, that's right.
And 54 years he was a practicing veterinarian. Probably when he passed away, he was one of the, if not the oldest veterinarian in Alabama. And, if it had been up to me, I probably would have followed in his footsteps, but he felt like the veterinary medicine was becoming a business, and so it was changing. So I became an electrical engineer. So with that, Jimmy, let's ask a few poll questions.
Yep. Okay. All right. First poll question. This is totally voluntary. I just like to find out who's out there because we really can't see you other than names on a list. So we're going to start out with my favorite simple question here, and that is, do you currently produce sublimation in-house? Because we know some of you, you're experienced sublimators, others, you're looking around to say, hey, maybe I want to do this. So I always like to know what kind of percentages we have out there. So if you take that opportunity to vote, we do appreciate that. And we'll just give you a few more seconds here, and then I'll close this out and show you the results so you have an idea of who else is tuning in. And then I have a couple more simple questions for you, and we'll move on from there. Okay, I'm going to close it down now. About 75% of you did participate. Do appreciate that. And I will now show you the numbers. And here's what the numbers look like. And that says that 85% of you are doing sublimation currently, and 15% of you are not. So those of you that are not, welcome aboard. I'm glad to have you here. Those who are already doing it, glad to see you again. So let's look at another question real quick. Now I want to know what kind of system you're using, because that helps, again, sort of in the direction of what we're going and what we can produce. So you have a few choices here. So if you wouldn't mind just clicking off on the one that best describes what you're using, that would be quite useful.
Jimmy, I think maybe you need to add to that list the artist-free markers.
Well, yeah, that's a good point.
For people that are, we'll call it people that are off the grid, right?
Right. So with, let's see, about 75% of you have voted. Some pretty interesting results here, which I'll be showing you in just one moment. So again, thank you everyone for participating on that. I'm going to close it out and show you the results. 78% of you are using the SG400 or SG800 from Sawgrass, and 18% were Epson, 3% were Ricoh.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. One last question here, very specific to the actual webinar. And it's sort of a tricky question, okay? So
a tricky question.
Tricky questions. Do you currently produce products for the pet marketplace? The only reason I'd say it's tricky is if you've done one or two things here and there, does it really constitute working in the marketplace or not? And that's
I
why I
would say
put a little bit. I put a little
yeah, I
bit
would
as the
say if
first
you
choice.
focus on the pet market,
Yep.
and we'll talk about what focusing on the pet market means, right?
Right. So I think that's a better choice of words. But you see the third answer I put, a little bit. Okay. So whatever works best for you there. Okay. Again, with about 75% of you voting, and I'm going to go ahead and close it out. Thanks, everyone. I'll show you the results now. And the results say that 19% of you feel like you really are producing for this marketplace. 42% said no. So that's good. We have a lot of people who are looking to learn a new market. And 39% a little bit. So hopefully we can take the little bits and move them up some. Okay, with that said, we're going to hide that out of the way. And let's go ahead and get started. You know, and when I talk about markets, I always like to look at some stats about the market. I think it's always good to understand a marketplace a little bit. Some of the statistics are very interesting when I did some research on this, because it also would help you. Sometimes statistics don't help us a lot. They're just numbers, right? But they do help you understand a little bit about pet owners in this case. So when we take a look, there's 78 million dogs in the U.S. with 39% of households owning at least one dog. There's 86 million cats. Well, now, this is interesting now. Look at this. There's 86 million cats, but only 33% of households.
Jimmy, I don't think I'm seeing your window.
Oh, that's not good. Hang on. Let me move this down out of the way. Oh, I think I know what's wrong. My apologies. Okay, I think you're seeing it now.
Because I want to see these cats. I can tolerate cats.
Okay. Let me know if you can see now.
Yep, we're good.
Okay, we're good. Okay. So my point was, with 78 million dogs, 39% of households own at least one dog. 86 million cats, but only 33% of U.S. households own at least one cat. But what tells me, though, overall, if there's more cats than dogs, that means that there's a lot of households that have multiple cats. You know, well, I know there's some that have multiple dogs too. But anyway, that's just a little bit of interesting about how many of them are out there, right? So let's go a little bit deeper in our statistics and start talking about expenditures. Now, pet owners, and if you're a pet owner, you already know this, right? Spend an incredible amount of money on their animals. About $51 billion overall annually in the U.S. is spent on pets. Now, that covers more than just sublimated products, all right? I mean, we're talking about, you know, vets and food and, you know, everything that goes with that, right? 11 billion in pet supplies, but my most astounding number is the third one. 370 million on Halloween costumes. And that was actually a couple of years back. I haven't gotten a new number on that. Wow, that's a lot of money on buying just frivolous stuff for the animals. Also tells you a lot about the mindset of the people that have pets.
Yeah, been there, done that. I've bought lion costumes for my dog, and we love it.
Yeah. So my next one, though, I really kind of like this information here, because this kind of information could actually help me start thinking a little bit about how I might market. We got a couple of points here. Pets are stress busters, okay? Studies show reduced anxiety, depression in pet owners, even blood pressure, okay? Pets have more status than ever before. 81% of pet owners say pets are equal members of the family, and over 1 million dogs are listed as life insurance beneficiaries. Pets feel connection and friendship vacuums. 95% of pet owners say their pets make them smile at least once per day. And pets fulfill a basic human trait, which is a need to nurture. With 78% of pet owners thinking of their animals as their children. 77% give birthday and holiday gifts to their pet. Okay, that shows you that emotional connection. Okay, and when people have an emotional connection to something, they tend to perceive the value to be higher. So when we start talking about products for pets, keep in mind that it's the emotional connection that's probably going to help drive the sales and drive the margins, okay, that emotional connection. And we certainly see a lot of that here. So there's all kinds of possibilities, Okay, and we're going to look at just some of the possibilities. We're going to look at some products that many Conde customers have sent in images of. We're going to share those. Maybe you'll see something you've done. So we can give you a lot of ideas here. Possibilities for profits, a couple that really jump out at me. Personalized pet products. Personalized human products. And what I say by that is a lot of times the pet owner is buying things for themselves that are personalized with the pet. Okay.
Absolutely.
Then we have pet apparel and we have pet memorials. Sad, but still a fairly large marketplace. So let's just look at some ideas and then we'll go through that gallery of things that have been sent in. But if we start looking at some of the personalized pet products, you can see over here we have a bandana that was created for, I see more dogs with bandanas than do cats. Cats are a little funky about that kind of stuff, right? We have the pet dog tag here with the bone. We have the personalized collar, and we also have the stocking for the pet. And in reality, that might be as much for the owner as it is for the pet, right? But just a few examples, and I know you have so many different products there at Conde, David, that you have probably a lot of different things there that can be used to make personalized pet products. Some of which we'll probably see when we get into the gallery of images people have sent in. More pet products. You know, this is interesting. I'm familiar with this pillow here that was created for these two dogs in the top left corner. Now, this was done before there were really sublimation pillow or pillowcases out there. So this is a situation where someone sublimated on fabric and it was taken to a seamstress who then made the final pillow. And they paid, let's see, the total price that the customer paid because the sublimator had the seamstress, sew it together was $150 for that pillow with the dogs on it, which I thought was interesting because now the dogs are going to lie on it and probably, if they're like my dog, eat it, okay? But that's just what people do, okay? So we have all kinds of things that, that the pets can lie on, chew on, cookie jars with treats and, you could probably even take a floor mat and turn it into a mat that an animal can lay on. So just a few more things that we can do for the pet and personalize it for the pet. And then we talk about the personalized human products. So now we start talking about apparel, phone cover cases. And I had to get something besides just dogs and cats here. See, so we got a phone case on the far right with a different pet. Because you got to remember, it's more than just cats and dogs, right? Here we have, the ornament, okay? And this is actually is an ornament as well. I mean, it's a tag. People use these as ornaments. These make great ornaments just by adding a hook into it. And then the other type of ornaments here.
Yeah, just an overwhelming number of products available. You could, obviously see lots of things and you turn them into pet products, but, phone stand makes a great product, a coaster, you name it.
Yep. And one of the things here, much like the same thing with children, if you're going to make things like Christmas ornaments, encourage the pet owner to put a year on there so they can remember what the dog looked like in that year. But the reality means I have to buy a new one every year.
Yeah, figure out some way to provide, what we call lanyap, meaning a little bit extra. If it's a two-sided ornament, that really provides a great amount of decorating power, especially if you're involved with a fundraiser. Put one side is for the organization, one side is for personal.
Yes. Pet and human apparel. Okay. I mean, here we have, human, that one shouldn't be there. Sorry. That one somehow floated in from another PowerPoint. So I'm just looking at, so wait a minute, we're not doing Halloween. So ignore the t-shirt or enjoy it, either one.
Hey, having dog-themed products around Halloween is extremely powerful, and I would say that that's a good wake-up call.
Yes, there we go. Great wake-up call.
Yeah, I believe also it's that Brat Dogs from PSI. I remember those folks. I think they have retired.
Yeah, and I have seen people using like small human T-shirts as dog shirts.
Oh, sure, sure.
In fact, when I was dog sledding in Alaska, some of the sled dogs were wearing Gildan T-shirts. I looked at the label. I had to know. I mean, but they weren't sublimated, but they were human T-shirts, and they seemed to fit very well. The dogs were very comfortable with them. So what I'm getting at is if you cannot find that specialized apparel like you see Brat Dog, then go ahead and get some T-shirts and some different sizes and experiment with them in turning them into pet apparel. Because sometimes the really, really specialized stuff could be hard to find, especially that we can sublimate on. But certainly if it's a human T-shirt, it should open up a lot of doors. Then when we start talking about the other end of the spectrum, pet memorial products, and there's a lot of different ways to do it, and there's some really nice shots we're going to see in a few minutes on some pet memorial products. When that pet passes on, that's about as traumatic as a regular human member of the family passing on as well. So many times people do want to commemorate, remember. We have found that something that can actually be used for an urn, because it is very common to have pets cremated, is what's basically a jewelry box. And the ashes can be in a bag inside there, and if you're worried about it opening, then you just put in a small wood screw right through here to keep it closed. But then you can have a picture of, in this case you see that the pet and the owner together. So a lot of cool ways that we can do things like that.
Very, very touching, very touching.
A lot of questions come to me about doing some type of headstones. Now, what I've found is, well, we both know that over time that sublimation will fade in direct sunlight. But the reality is, if you're working with someone and you're looking at a product, maybe the slate product, for example, to use as a headstone, the first thing you do want to let them know is this will over time fade. So be prepared that you will need to replace it, every couple of years, to keep it in good condition. So
yeah, I'd say a couple of things. One is the new Chromolux Outdoor Metal.
Yes.
Really gives you a 3 to 5 year product, and that's a long time. And then number two is a lot of the folks have started using the Unisub garden stakes as pet memorial stakes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
They're super easy to use, sublimate, stick it in the ground.
Right.
And then you could, for instance, you could sell a client 3 of them, and as one becomes unacceptable, switch to the second.
Yep.
So a lot of strategies that we didn't have, say, a year ago.
True. Very true. And I like that angle, David, of selling them 3. And, I always tell people when they get concerned about things fading in direct sunlight, I mean, first of all, pretty much everything fades in direct sunlight over time. But I have found that the key thing is that customer expectation is not expecting it to be 100 years. So if you're telling the customer up front, yes, over time, 2 to 3 years, 3 to 5, depending on the type of product, it is going to fade from direct sunlight. Their expectation when it does fade is, oh yes, they told me it would. And that's very important, is never hide the fact that it's going to fade in direct sunlight. How fast, we don't really know, because it depends on how many hours per day it's in the sunlight and how intense it is. I mean, if it's in the shade all the time, it's probably not going to fade as fast as if it's in the middle of the desert. So
yeah, it's a calculation of ambient temperature, how hot it is, because the dyes obviously are put in with heat,
right,
versus direct sunlight. But ultimately, through heat, the dyes will have dye migration. They'll have outgassing, becomes blurry, and of course, southern facing exposure, Arizona, Florida, that kind of thing.
right.
But I would say things, certainly if you're using a good quality ink along with a quality outdoor substrate like the Unisub or Chromolux
Right.
Products, things are probably going to exceed most people's expectation.
Yes. And I was mentioning slate as potentially outdoor, but it's a great indoor because one of the nice things about slate is it just has the look sort of a headstone material. And it becomes, maybe this is just going on a mantle, but it becomes a great way because it does have, the slate does have the I want to call them legs, but there's probably a different term for them so that you can
They're just the
prop
stand
them
or
up.
feet
Stand.
for it.
Okay, got it. So anyway, here was just, a couple other things in the Pet Memorial product marketplace. So I'm going to go into the gallery of pet products just to show some more. And these are not in any specific order, but these are things that some of you out there have probably contributed. And I love just getting my hands on things that people do and sharing them, because I think these are the best examples of things that are being sold in the marketplace. So we're just going to...
Nice. So a little shadow box.
Right.
There.
See, there's so much creativity. I mean, look at it. And again, here's the emotional connection. I mean, right here to that owner of that pet, I'm not going to say it's worth truly $1 million, but it's worth a lot, okay, because of the emotional connection. So that means you probably can get a really nice margin out of it.
Absolutely.
Here we have some of the bandanas. Here's another nice one put together. Someone did a little extra there because they attached the bone, and so you could, they have this on a stand, but what if you had this on the wall, and then that's where the leash, as you can see, over the bone hangs. So a little extra work in there, but that came out very nice. I like this one, the pet food bowl. An interesting image there, and obviously two animals, unless the dog has two names.
And one of the things with the pet bowls and many of the products now that would traditionally be done in an oven, the subless shrink makes things so easy.
Right. So another way to get it done. Now this one is interesting. It's interesting because of the collection of animals there. Okay, I mean, you got the two big ones on each end, the two little ones in the middle, and each one knows their bowl. Yeah, and away they go.
That's really cute.
Dog pillow.
Yeah, beautiful.
Leashes. Simple,
pet
tags. Yep.
Pet tags. Yeah, pet tags are just taken for granted, and you can work with a rescue shelter and really promote your business through them by volunteering to do pet tags.
I can't see all of that reads, but it's interesting because it's something about mom and there's a glass of wine. So
my mom drinks or something.
Yeah.
Cute. Good colors on there.
Yep.
Okay. Little bag.
And then we have the cat. Yeah. It looks like a travel bag for the cat, and then it's got its own little tag.
With its name on there.
Yep.
Isn't that cute? Oh, that's beautiful.
The boys. These are just so creative in what people have done. It's just,
you could use that to hang up the leashes,
yes.
Collars, and you name it. Nice.
And here where it looks like, David, that they just might have taken a regular floor mat and turned it into a mat for the food bowls and the water bowl.
Yep. Yeah, looks good.
That's, you know what? That's a very interesting design for that little of a space. They have a lot going on there. We have some more leashes.
Yeah. Got leashes and collars and pet tags.
Yeah, all coordinated. Now, I really like this one. Caution, dog can't hold its liquor.
That is cute.
Yeah, so it looks to me like they just did metal and then just mounted it onto that wooden background. And then they made the little extra wooden bones. So a lot of creativity there.
Very attractive. I like that.
Yep.
Nice. So got a little piece of wood, looks like, with a piece of metal separated with a little block, and then a paper clip.
Yep.
Quite nice. So the owner could change the picture whenever they feel like.
Right.
Have a new one up there.
Yeah, that is real. That, the more I think about that, that is really nice. Being able to change out the pictures that way. Really nice. So these are car coasters that Dog Lover and Cat Lover.
Okay.
So is that 4 pieces of tile? That's what it looks like to me.
I can't tell. I don't think so, Jimmy. I don't know for sure. It looks like one piece. Just sort of 4 quadrants. Okay, not sure.
Yeah,
But
I'm not
very
sure, because you're
attractive.
right, because if it was tile, you would see it, the gap would be different. The lines would be more of a sort of a gap. So I don't know, maybe it's 4 coasters or something. But anyway.
Very attractive.
Yep.
Oh, yes. I guess that's one of those golden noodles.
I think it's a golden doodle. Now, what's interesting is I have a golden doodle, but my golden does not have the curly hair, and we think she's about 85% golden and maybe 15% doodle, because she's got the long legs of a poodle, but she really doesn't have the long curly hair, so she's not sure what she is, I think. But yeah, I think that's a golden doodle there. Oh, by the way, the leash rack, I just noticed Laura Brownstein said that was my leash rack. Thanks for sharing it. So thank you, Laura, for providing the picture and allowing us to share it. So
was that the one with the 4 tiles on it, or was that one of the ones before that? I wonder.
Yeah, which one was it, Laura? To be specific. And yes, the 4 dogs in the iron rack. So
okay, very attractive.
Yeah, that was a great job. Great job. Okay, and the last one here is we have our cat on board for the window in the car.
Interesting.
Yep.
Gotcha. Well, those were great photographs. And by the way, if folks want to see more, if you go to YouTube and you type in the search Conde space pet contest, you'll see, I think it was last year's pet contest, a product for pets, and just amazing. So through our client gallery, which everybody can participate, you simply upload your designs, your pictures of your product, and we usually have some sort of contest going on. Right now, I think our contest is out of the box, meaning just some, like our creative clients coming up with some unique ideas, and boy, do they ever.
So, David, I got another note here. The one that we were looking at where I thought maybe it was ceramic tiles, it turns out they were hardboard. Okay. So the 4 tiles were hardboard, and that came from Paula Kubiak. Thanks for that information.
Good job, Paula. Good job.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about marketing pet products. I'm going to talk about a couple of markets, but you know what, David? You have so many market ideas in this area.
I'll throw them in.
Throw them in, because I'm not going to have all the market ideas you do. So just wanted to say that. By the way, and this is to Conde in general, can we get bigger pet bone tags? I have a 90-pound German Shepherd. He needs something bigger, please, and thank you.
So once a pet tag, in the bone shaped, but wants the bone to be larger. Okay.
Yep. Yep. For big dogs. So.
I will check into it. By the way, my second dog right now is a dog that I took on Facebook Live when he was a puppy, and it's a half St. Bernard, half Newfoundland. Some of you
Wow.
folks out there may remember, and now he's Baron the Beast. And he
Wow.
is 9 months old. He is, I'm sure he's well over 120 pounds now.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Okay, so, well, veterinarians, you know a little bit about that. But one of the things I've noticed, and maybe it kind of goes back to what your dad was saying about becoming a business, but so many veterinarians have kind of expanded, and they're not just we take care of animals. It's like we sell animal supplies, animal food, animal accessories. They do animal funerals. I mean, they've kind of, a lot of them have expanded. And of course, some of them have become, franchise, like Veterinarian Clinics of America, VCA, is a big franchise. So you're going to find a lot of veterinarians that do carry other products. And that might be a place that you could put together ideas and take and talk to them about it and see if they would carry it. You got to make it easy for them, though.
I think when it comes to, especially memorial products, obviously chances are the veterinarian's involved with a pet as it reaches its life. And so I think that's certainly there. I think it's just a matter of sort of surveying the veterinarians in your area and see which one of them would make the best partner. I would probably focus on one veterinarian in any area and try to do a good job with partnering with that veterinarian. I think it's very possible. I would say that probably the key decision maker is whoever runs the office. Usually there'll be somebody that could be the office manager, and you work with them. And I would walk in and say, I want to do name badges. Name badges are always my number one product. And everybody in that office needs an attractive professional name badge. And, you could, if you've got, we probably need a few creative name badges for veterinarians as well. But at any rate, name badges would be where I would start and say, by the way, I can make some memorial products, probably pitch slate at first. And so it's a true gold mine. With pets, absolute gold mine.
Yep. Next on my list was pet stores. Now, I know that we have, again, we've had a lot of big name corporate, stores that probably don't buy a whole lot local, okay? But we, locally where I live, we still have some like family-owned pet stores, and these are the ones that I would be targeting simply because they're making their own buying decisions, as opposed to some of the big box, pet stores where the decision's made somewhere many, many miles away.
There's no doubt about that. And so a locally owned pet store would be a great way to get started. You just have to sort of learn the store and figure out, okay, who is it that would be a good person to work with at the store.
Right.
They're looking for quick turn stuff.
Right.
And so you need to just sort of talk them into the fact that, you can have maybe next day delivery on, say, some pet tags, bandanas, kind of stuff. And then, of course, you just turn up the volume completely on holidays like Halloween.
Yep.
You're in there showing people how they can get a Halloween design with their pet's name on it.
Yeah. Now, David, here's a little different angle. I've done this. Remember, I've started as an embroiderer, and I've done this with embroidery where we teamed up with a retail store. It wasn't a pet store in this case, but it doesn't matter. We teamed up with a retail store one Saturday where we actually took our machine there, and there was a big promotion done where we were actually like monogramming products in that store while people waited. So can you imagine, you go into a local family-owned, pet store, and you say this Saturday we're going to be making, custom dog tags or, some product, custom food bowls. I don't know, but the point being is you work together and you kind of like split the profits. You go
And
into it.
you could also, I think it's a great idea, Jimmy, and you could also tie it in with some sort of charitable connection.
Yes.
Like we're going to donate some of the proceeds to the animal rescue. So yeah, you could come up with all those. And what's on my mind nowadays is tying in, if you can get into something like that, a store that's got kids coming in with pets.
Right.
Guess what? You can tie in the sublimation markers. Get the
That's
little
right.
kitties to maybe come up with a drawing, coloring of
Their dog.
their pet, and
Yes.
put it on a beautiful acrylic coaster. Could be on
Right.
an acrylic bag tag. So if you do have something that, for instance, our dog Ben's at home, we've got the pet's names on the dog Ben's because they get a little bit different feed.
Yep. Yep. All right. Moving into maybe some of the memorial products. This is just, again, a little bit of research that put up some interesting numbers to me. There's currently over 500 pet cemeteries in the U.S. and growing. The largest one is in Hartsdale, New York, and it has an average of 400 pet burials per year. A few years ago, Hartsdale opened a section where pets and humans can be buried side by side. Okay, so they took that to a different level. Burial averages about $800, whereas cremation comes in around $80. But it was crazy when I started researching some of the pet funerals, and just how much money sometimes people spent. But one other thing about Hartsdale, oh wow, Tony, I don't want to pronounce your last name because I might say it wrong, though it looks easy. But anyway, Tony just made a comment. It's 15 minutes from his house. I have 2 dogs there.
Cool. So this is
New York.
Tony. What's Tony's last name? Spell it.
Lisnack.
Oh yes, I know Tony. Tony, thanks for being with us today. Yes.
That's your name, right, Tony? Gosh, I hate it.
I met Tony in person at the Secaucus show, I do believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the smallest pet, this is interesting too, the smallest pet buried in this cemetery in Hartsdale, New York is a goldfish.
Wow.
So, yep, someone buried a goldfish there. But, you start looking at all the different kind of products, and a lot of it is just standard memorial products and plaques and things like that people may have around their house. There's also an elephant there, according to Tony. Wow. Oh, that's interesting. So you do have, cemeteries and crematoriums that are really dedicated to pets. You do have some veterinarians that put together memorial types of things. So there's a whole lot of different directions you can go with pet memorials. Now, a big part of everything, with this is making sure you have product samples. And I use this particular one here that we created at Sawgrass, just showing, different personalization. But everything in this room is personalized around the dog on the couch. Okay, that dog's name is Kiwi. In case you didn't realize that, it's up there on the wall. But the more you look at everything that's there, is the girl's looking at her her iPad, which has a cover which has her name on it and also pictures of Kiwi. That quilt there, that's a picture of her and her husband, and the dog is right there in the middle of photobombing. You can see Kiwi on the wall, behind her, over to one side of her. Every item on that end table has pictures of Kiwi. What you can't see on the floor is the pet food bowl. You can barely see it, but it's really hard to see. And there's also a throw rug down there. And Kiwi's even wearing a dog bandana. So this is a great example of so many unique products that you can put together. I mean, you don't want to overwhelm customers, but you would like to have, some nice things to show somebody so that when you go in there to make a pitch, nothing beats a great sample. I mean, that's the absolute truth. If you happen to be using Creative Studio, which is our products, some of the artwork earlier in here was done with Creative Studio. using our product mock-up maker. Obviously, it provides, one of the neat things is it has all the different templates, or lots of different templates for the different products. But certainly, as long as you have any graphics program, you can make
Let me
samples.
throw one thing in there about templates. So we churn out a lot of new products. So if you're a Creative Studio user, and the product is currently not in Creative Studio, all you need to do is to use our template with Creative Studio. Our templates now support Creative Studio, so you can import our template directly into Creative Studio, use the PNG version, and works great. We have a video on Conde TV that walks you through using our templates. And if you don't know, when you buy products from us, especially online, your templates have immediate download access. All you need to do is look at your order history, and the link to download the template is right there.
Excellent. So, David, as I mentioned, you probably have some other really great marketing ideas here for pet products.
I do. So the main first one is the one I refer to as the Jesse James marketing idea. Have you heard that before, Jimmy?
Well, with you, yes, I have. I
think you have. And the simple thing is, they asked Jesse James one time, they were trying to get into the psyche of why he robbed banks. And they, of course, he of course thought they were crazy. And he said, well, I rob banks because that's where the money's at. And so where's the money at in in pet products? And I think it's in pet groomers. So nobody takes their dog to a pet groomer because they have to. And so you want to tap into that. And it's actually incredibly easy. All you really need to do is make a few samples, and get the pet groomer to display them. And when their clients come in with their dogs, they just pick out what they want, and they could either email or some other way get the photograph to you. You fill the product, and they can pick it up on the next day or their next visit. Now, this strategy has a bunch of benefits. It's a win-win strategy. Number one is pet grooming in general is very dull. Most exciting thing that happens at a pet groomer is a dog bites somebody. And so you're really making the pet groomer look good. Pet groomers producing some great value. And if you think about a pet bandana or something like that, the pet's going to look even better. So you can imagine the pet groomer's clients are going to talk it up, show other pet owners exactly what they now can get. Now, I suspect that many of the products that a pet groomer would ultimately sell, with your help, are going to be not for the pet, but are going to be for the pet owner. So my survey shows that many of the products purchased are actually for the previous pet. In other words, the pet that has passed away. And so those are the ones that the pet owner really is looking forward to, because they see their dog every day, but they're not going to be able to see their previous dog. So we had a golden retriever that passed away, Jimmy, I think when we were at, it must have been the NBM show in Long Beach 2 years ago. And we did the FaceTime at the vet as the dog was put to sleep. Very traumatic. And bottom line is, we've got pets of that golden retriever whose name was Brinkley. What a precious dog. And so bottom line is, you want to find who is really the best pet groomer in your area. You want to show them a sample of products that are all set to go, really irresistible. It could be a phone stand, could be a piece of slate, you name it. But pick only a couple of products, maybe 3 or 4. And explain to them that they can show these to their client. You will cut them a little bit of the profit involved. It could be, say, 20% of the sale. You don't have to give them much. They're going to be in love with the idea. And you're going to do the fulfillment. You could come by and pick up a photograph, for instance, and many people, especially older folks, may have some real photographs, and it's super easy to handle photographs. Just take a picture of it with your smartphone, and it'll make a great reproduction. You could also get an email address, and it could be, a email address that could be just for this pet groomer setup. So there's some very convenient ways to do it, and people are going to love it. And while you're there in the pet groomer, you could sell them, of course, my favorite product, which is name badges. And as you get into holiday themes or whatever, really you can have a lot of fun by tapping into that. So whether you're selling a pet mat, whether you're selling a phone stand, you really have a great strategy there. Now, we call this, sort of wholesale fulfillment. And what you're doing from a marketing point of view is you're essentially hiring that pet groomer to be your sales force. And just such a great strategy. And you can extend this wholesale fulfillment concept, for instance, also to the fundraising world, where you're hiring an organization to sell your products. And of course, it's a win-win. So the pet groomers, I think, is a great way to go. Now, there are other great ways to go, and that is search your community for dog parks and figure out what organization may be responsible for that dog park. Usually there'll be some supporting organization. Get in touch with them, find out if they have any events that you can participate in. And like Jimmy was saying, which is a great idea, if you've got a small printer, say an SG400, a small press, say a JP14, and with one of those silent generators, you could set up and do products truly on demand right there. So in our area, we've got a great dog park. They haven't had too many events that I've seen recently, but I know they have them. I've just probably missed them. And other ways you can do this is through your animal rescue shelters. Get plugged into that, and those people can often be the conduit for getting to everybody else, because they're already plugged into who's the best pet store from a local point of view. And they can make those introductions for you. And essentially, all you have to do is be their conduit for putting out, I think, some exciting products. For instance, whenever they have an event or something, maybe donate some pet tags to it. So you really have just a good thing. But so many products, for instance, well, going back to marketing, almost always you'll have in your community dog parades. I think we have ours maybe a little bit after Christmas or before Christmas, can't quite remember. Some of the churches will have the blessing of the pets. A great way to get plugged into there. So, I think pets is just probably, as far as a market strategist, maybe one of the best there is out there. And you could continue thinking about all the products from the new linen garden flags, putting a pet on there, how beautiful that would be. Put that in your yard with the pet's name, you name it. And, one of the things is people do talk about, and buy products for their pets, but the great thing, just like kids or babies, is they all grow up, and folks are going to need a bunch of different versions of it. Like I carry around on my phone, I've got a sublimated phone cover, and I've got Baron when he was, only a couple of months old. So, Jimmy, what kind of questions we got today?
Well, to be honest, we've had more comments and questions. We had one come in just when you got talking about pet groomers, and she says, I groomed for many years. Quality is what brings the customers back. Also go to the doggy daycares is Seree, I think is how you pronounce her name, S-E-R-E-E. But she said also go to the doggy daycares. Anyone spending the money for daycare for their doggy will love personalized products. So there's another marketing tip right there.
And we go to Secaucus, we walk through Manhattan, and I see these doggy daycares, and to me that's just amazing. we don't have doggy daycares that I know of around here, but what a great market to go after. Just think of all the fun and games that you can have with a bunch of pets running around,
True, true. But that's all we have now. It really were just the comments, and the other ones we got a little bit earlier. So I believe that's really bringing us to the very
Jimmy,
conclusion
what
here.
what I want to do is do a couple of things. One is for everybody that's been part of this webinar or watched it either real or real time or online. I'd like to give you something, and so with your next order of $100 or more, it's not exactly pet related, but I think I think it really is. I want to give you one of our new waffle towels, and I think the part number is like SND 315. It's a very nice towel, and the reason is because every pet owner really needs a towel. Wipe things off, clean things off, and these towels, I have fallen in love with them. They are so nice. And, really with the success we've had of our linen products and now the waffle towels, I think this is very complimentary to dogs. But check out, our entire Pet Tags line, and we'll absolutely check out the bigger boned pet tag. I think that's a great idea. And, the best ideas, Jimmy, you know where they come from. They don't come from me or you. They come from our clients that are on the front lines involved with these. And we want to thank everyone for their participation in our client gallery. Go check out the pet video for the awards. That is absolutely awesome. Jimmy, anything else?
By the way, Julie Jeffries says, tell David we do have doggy daycare in Mobile. Next time I'm over to pick up some goodies, I'll give him their names. So
okay. Well, I have to check it out. And because occasionally I wonder if Baron would behave, being like a small horse. He probably would. So I'll have to do a little Googling to find out, see what's in Mobile that's, pet sitting, if you will. Well, Jimmy, I know we had just a bunch of people on this with some great comments, and that always makes these webinars so good. So want to thank Jimmy, as always, guys. Jimmy is the one that does the heavy lifting here, and want to thank him and want to thank everybody that was part of this. So, Jimmy, again, thank you.
Well, thank you, David. Glad to be here, and thank you, everyone, for coming out, and we'll see you next time.
You take care, Jimmy.
You too, baby.
Take care.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.